Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's the 6 month mark. As of January 14th, 2020, I have officially been on HRT for 6 months. And I feel really great, but at the same time, I feel all right. I feel fine, just as I normally am. It's just another day. I mean, I've been talking up this milestone for months, and now I finally reached it, but it's just another day. And while part of me is like ecstatic that I finally made it this far, other part of me is just like, you know what, it's just another milestone I've crossed off. I've made it to the halfway point of a full year. Here's to the other half. Here's to the many months down the road that I have to gear up for and prepare for, and all that other lovely stuff. So yeah, wow, it is it's just one of the I think it's just I take these kinds of things just so casually is my thing. Yeah. But before I get into the wonderful breakdown of what I've noticed this past month, I did have my follow up with my endocrinologist at the beginning of January, and I wanted to kind of go through a summary of that before I really get into those things. So at the beginning of the month, I had my 6 month follow up with my endocrinologist, but in this case, it was another specialist that works alongside him. And really, the gist of it was it's just kind of me summarizing and just kind of breaking down what I've been sharing with all of you for the past few months, and just going in depth and detail about the changes that I've noticed and things that I've experienced, and just kind of getting my own personal accounts, um, telling my own personal account for this doctor, and just kind of running through everything. And then we just kind of went back and forth about what I can anticipate in the next 6 months and those kinds of things. Just very procedural stuff. But it was very nerve wracking and very exhilarating. Just kind of breaking all of this down, getting her professional input and sort of observations on everything, and just going through all of that. Like, though I feel that I've been in a really good place, it's like, what is a professional? How would they perceive and go and make about these observations? But overall, it was a very productive. It was a very productive appointment. I felt like I got a lot of my questions answered, and it was very insightful. Another thing that we did go over is surgeries, because I would like to get gender reassignment surgery down the road. And one thing that came from that is that she did tell me that within the next around the 9 month mark, I can get the ball rolling on referrals to the proper channels to get that into motion. I know it's a very long and lengthy process, but if I can get that into motion as soon as possible when appropriate, that's something I would very much like to pursue. So we did talk about that, and that is seems to be what's in the cards. And afterwards, the appointment just wrapped up with me getting blood work done so they could check my levels and decide if they needed to make any altercations to my prescription. Which, in conclusion, for that is yes, they did raise my dosage, which I will save the full details about that for my month 7, for my month 7 HRT update, when those details would be more relevant. And after that, it was just scheduling me for more lab work within 2 to 3 months, just to, just kind of routinely just check up to see how I'm doing with that down the road. But overall, that is the gist of what my follow up was. Very productive. A lot of stuff good came from it, and I look forward to meeting with my endocrinologist in the coming months, and kind of getting more of his input. But right now, it's just getting through the next 6 months of wonderful changes and whatnot through hormones. So, but anyway, that's enough waffling. Let me actually get into the gist of what's been going on this past month. It's been kind of hard to really keep track of things because it's just so much has happened. It's like this month kind of like these last 4 weeks has just whizzed by super fast. I've been going through a lot. It was really just kind of hard for me to really take note of things, but I did notice some things here and there. For the psychological stuff, I'm still very much joyous and happier than usual. But I've also noticed that I've been a little bit more emotional and a little bit more snarky, if you will. It's like the last few weeks have just been very tense for me, and I've noticed that I've been a lot more bitchy as a result of it. It's like I'm not like in a bitter negative mood or anything, or like having mood swings or anything like that. Like, I'm still very fine, still very upbeat, but I've noticed that I was a lot more snarky, a little bit more bitchy in a sense toward, like, not towards anyone in any way, just in the way that I said things and the way that I did certain things. And I just seemed very out of character. It just seemed very, like, bizarre for me at first, but just seemed very, very fitting afterwards. Um, just come off a little bit more abrasive, a little bit more vocal than I'm used to. Again, I feel that could correlate to just the circumstances that I was going through at the time, but at the same time, it feels like that seems like what I would assume is kind of just a natural kind of change. I've always been a very, I've always been a very passive person. I've never liked to make a fuss of things. I don't like getting into conflicts. I always try to find the most peaceful resolutions to just about everything that I'm, confronted with. Um, but now I feel like no, I need to take a little bit more of a stand, a little bit more of an abrasive approach to things, and being a little bit more being a little bit more headstrong, if you will. Um, which seems a little bit different for me, but at the same time feels like a bit of a fitting change. Uh, and I've just also just been feeling a lot more emotional lately. Just certain things here and there have just been kind of either like filling me with immense amounts of joy, or just offsetting me like oddly, and like offsetting me in strange ways, and I start getting all mopey and sad, which isn't a bad thing. It's nice to feel things. Uh, and that's really it. That's really the gist of the psychological changes. I'm just kind of all over the grid right now, especially as of the last couple of days, but I'm not going to get into that. But as for the physical stuff, the physical business, uh, nothing too much really. I've noticed it's like body is getting a lot more, is still getting noticeably slimmer and curvier. I definitely notice an impact of my more consistent exercise routine having some impact on my physique. I definitely feel lighter in some areas. I definitely feel a bit more weightiness in others. I feel that's not only just a process of the exercise, but also just the fat redistribution taking slow effect. Definitely noticed a little bit more of a smoothness and glow to my skin, which is fantastic. As for body hair, that's still, I haven't really noticed any changes with that. That's still same as it was before. Um, I've definitely really nothing else other than that. I've really in that area. As for my chest, haven't really noticed any development. The soreness is still the same as as it is. I haven't really noticed any developments in terms of mass. It's just this area is still immensely sore, um, still very tender. I haven't really noticed any changes in that area, so who knows? Maybe when we hit the tipping point after further into month 7. Who knows? I certainly don't. But I definitely noticed those slightly more subtle changes to my overall physique um, are occurring, and hopefully in tandem with my consistent exercise and better dietary habits, those will hopefully go hand in hand and improve that improve that a little bit better. I don't know why I'm stumbling so much. Um, and I really feel that's kind of the gist of it. That really feels like the all of it. Of very unsurprising, but also kind of underwhelming, if that makes sense. Then again, I mean, I never really know what to expect at the month point. I think deep down, I kind of built up this mental perception of like, oh, hey, it's the 6 month mark. It's like, this is supposed to be the tipping point. And in actuality, I feel like, no, it's just as I feel like I get closer to the year mark, that's when the more noticeable things will start occurring. Hopefully, and that's definitely what I heard from the specialist that I saw during my follow up. So, not too much this month, and I'm honestly not sure of like what that could mean for 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know. But thinking back and going to the specialist that I saw at my follow up, it's supposed to be these next few months where things become more noticeable, but I've definitely noticed some subtle things here and there this month and in the past ones, as I shared with all of you. But hopefully, moving forward, now that now that now that I've gone through such subtle changes, and now that there's been altercations to my prescription, hopefully there are more noticeable developments in the near future. But honestly, I have no fucking clue, because I honestly don't know. I just go one day at a time and nothing more. But anyway, that is the all of it. Thank you very much for watching, and take care.